So just a little intro to my intro. I just listened to it back, and anyone who watched my last video and then watches this one is going to be super confused about my accent, so I should probably just explain that a little bit. I lived in New Zealand for nearly 9 years, so I have three, but for the purpose of it, I have two main accents. I have my English one and my Kiwi one, which probably isn't that strong anymore because I don't live there anymore, but I live in the house with him, he's Kiwi, so it like resets it all the time. But even worse still, if I then go in and edit the voiceovers on the videos and that's my British accent, I'm sorry for that too. Ugh. Fridge is a mess, hair is a mess. Haven't been to the hairdresser since lockdown ended. Okay, I mentioned in the last video I've been trying to see a basking shark for so long. Like, I want to say 2015 is when we first started really trying. So I'm not talking about I go to the sea and hope I see a shark. I'm talking about dedicated trips to places where there's sharks, where there have been shark sightings in the week before or the days leading up to. Like, literally doing everything I can to see a shark. Last year was just ridiculous. Like, everyone knows we went to all the right places. At one point we were 2 minutes from a shark that was currently being sighted by a good friend of mine. He was watching it through the scope. We pulled up in the car at the car park where he was. He said, "I've still got it in the scope, just come through the trees, you'll see me sat on the right." Got out of the car, walked through the trees. It was genuinely gone. So basically what happens is they feed off plankton and they're there all the time, but you only see them if the plankton is at the surface because they're like munching along, which means their fin is sticking out of the water. And all that happened on this day is a swell rolled through, so it like churned the plankton in a downward motion, so the shark was still enjoying his little plankton feast, but we couldn't see him anymore. 2 minutes, like, probably not even that. Like, I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. So all of my friends, or all of my conservation type friends, this is like a long-standing joke, like they will tag me every time they see a basking shark because they've seen like tons of them now. So they'd be like, next year is your thing, just save all your money, do as many trips as you can next year. So that's what I did, and then COVID. So basically what they do, I don't know where they come from. I don't know if anyone genuinely knows where they come from. I know they get sighted off Europe and stuff, but they come up the coast, the west coasts, and they come up Ireland, and they come up the middle, and that's how they pass the Isle of Man. So they see them first on the coast of Cornwall and Penzance as they come around that corner. Then they go around the west coast of Ireland and past the Isle of Man. This is probably reverse on there, I apologise. You know what I mean, you know where Ireland is. And then they go up and then they come around, and that's when they hit the west coast of Scotland. So that is where we hit it the hardest. They're really well known for being around Col and Tiree. They're these two islands, they're like really long, and there's like a little gap in the middle that's broken up by like a ton of rocks, so it's not really a gap. You can actually sit on Tiree and look across to Col, which we did one year for days and days and days, and still didn't see a shark. But anyway, I'm not bitter. It's really long, and they are seen up at the top, they're seen in this little middle bit, and they're seen down the coast of Tiree. So we've done that like a ton of times. Plus there's like a 4-hour ferry out to those islands, at least at Tiree. So that gives you a ton of time to be looking for them. Basically what I'm saying is we've tried super hard and not seen them. And this year I knew it was a good year because the pattern follows all the way through. If they see a ton in Ireland, it's because they are a ton and the conditions are good, and so I knew it was going to be a good year, so I knew I had to get out as soon as I could. So Basking Shark Scotland was full, which makes sense. They book up like super far in advance, so if you want to go with them, book it in advance. But side note, I get super seasick too because life is just that good. So I need to book when conditions are going to be really good, otherwise I can't go on a boat. I vaguely ran it past my partner. He knows what I'm like, so he's not going to say no. It cost close to £700 all up with the car and the ferries and the accommodation and the boat trips. We booked 2 boat trips, one day after the other. They were only running the morning ones, so we booked the Monday morning and the Tuesday morning boat trips. And they're like about 4 hours each. And we went up on the Sunday. So we had Sunday night there, the Monday and the Tuesday, and then we had like a Wednesday half chill day before the ferry back. So it was a small window, crammed in as much sort of boat time as I could, and crossed my fingers hard. And this is what we saw. Freaking sharks! I was beyond excited. Like, look at that mouth. They're massive and beautiful and amazing. In this clip you can see the little tail come out at the back. I say little tail, they're like enormous. But they're just, oh, they're so beautiful and sharky. We saw, I think, maybe 5, and they were like the first things that we found when we went out on the boat too. I was freaking stoked. Plus, look at that scenery. Like, these boat trips were so relaxing and just, honestly, they were kind of perfect. Like, they could not have been better. We saw so many sharks, it was so sunny, and then we suddenly left the sharks and I was like, wait, what? Why? Because of this. That's freaking John Cole. How did this happen? Literally within 5 minutes, I've gone from seeing basking sharks for the first time in 5 years to seeing one of the last remaining West Coast orca. I couldn't believe it. When I woke up that morning, I was so hopeful that I would see maybe 1 shark from a distance. Like, to see 5, to see them close up, and then to find John Cole, it's like a 1 in a million trip, and it was a 1 4-hour trip with sea life surveys. It's just a crazy day. So day 2, I was not expecting anything at all. So to get this gorgeous encounter with this minke whale, I was really pleased. It's a species we didn't get the day before, so it was a massive bonus, and it was really chill as well. And then just as we were about to go home, we found these beautiful common dolphins. So this was a fairly large pod, maybe 20 to 30 individuals. You generally find them in groups, bigger groups than bottlenose dolphins. And they tend to be a little bit more playful, I've found. Like, there was a few wee ones in this group. You'll see one jump out in just a minute. When we first arrived, the younger juveniles were actually going nuts. They were doing like full body leaps out of the water. I didn't get videos of that, and I'm super sorry about that. I did get a couple of photos, and I'll check those on at the end, but just look at them coming up to the boat. They're really inquisitive and really smart, and they will literally eyeball you. They'll come right up to the side of the boat and have a good look at what you were doing. Why are these weird looking things hanging over the side of the boat looking at me? On this occasion we were out with sea life surveys, but we've been out with the others too. You can't really go wrong. So you've got stafford tours, sea life surveys, mole charters. You can go out and see the sea eagles. You can do private charters. It's about just getting out on the water. Even this guy I saw from the ferry goes through such gorgeous scenery and you get such a good vantage point. Just being out on the water is really going to up your chances. You don't know what you're going to see, but that's the joy of it. That's what I love about it. So I hope you like this video. If you've got any questions about Mull or Scotland or sea life watching, let me know in the comments. And if you like this content, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and let me know so I know to bring you more.